All right, ladies, thank you for joining our call tonight. We have guest speaker Annie Hale. She's an Emerald with Plexus Worldwide, and we are ready to hear her story. So, Annie, we're really excited that you came and that you're able to join us tonight. So, we appreciate you taking the time.
Absolutely. Thanks for inviting me, Melissa. I've been looking forward to this for several weeks now. So
Thank
it's
you.
great to be on here with some of your team and friends, and yeah, I'm excited to invest the next little bit with you all. And it's an investment of your time too, I know. So I hope it's a great return on that investment for you. So you may know some of my story already, but I'm going to kind of backtrack a little bit to pre-Plexus. So I was a pretty big skeptic of all things network marketing, all things supplement, just kind of a skeptic at heart. And I was pretty sure that I could maintain and keep my health where I wanted it to be just by clean eating. And I love juicing, and I enjoy moderate exercise. And I thought I had it all figured out. And I honestly, this was about 12 years ago, had a kind of even a judgmental attitude towards people who weren't willing to make those changes. And the Lord was so faithful, as he always is, to humble me and show me I had nothing figured out, and that he was going to kind of take me back to square one so that I could actually begin understanding some things, like I'm not in control, and that he's faithful and he's going to take care of my family and all sorts of things. So a lot of my identity had become kind of stored up in health and eating a certain way and feeding my family a certain way. And I don't know if you ever feel that pressure to take on or feel a little judged by other people who are interested in eating a certain way, and maybe you're not. But I did have my identity kind of wrapped up there, and it wasn't very healthy. It wasn't spiritually healthy, and it wasn't even actually that physically healthy. So fast forward a few years, when I believe with all of my heart, God sent a little tick. You know, you think you have your whole world under control, and it takes something that's about 2 centimeters long to come and destroy it all. So I see that as an amazing act of his faithfulness now, because if that hadn't happened, I would still be totally deceiving myself, thinking that I was in somewhat of control. So that tick bite ravaged my health. And by ravaged, I mean, I would, first of all, I grew up with ticks. So I didn't think there was anything like a big deal at all. I mean, I didn't give it a second thought. But about 3 weeks later, I woke up in the middle of the night and was covered in hives from head to toe. And I've never had hives before. It was alarming if you ever had that happen. From the top of my head to the top of my ears to the top of my feet, everywhere, covered in hives. And I woke up, just my heart was racing from a dead sleep. And I woke my husband up as gently as I could, because I felt like if I moved, I was probably going to pass out. And if I passed out, I would probably stop breathing. Like, it just, all those things kind of came to me at once. I've never had a panic attack. I've never, woken up in the middle of the night and not been able to go back to sleep. This was something that had taken over. So we did make it to the hospital, and they didn't know what was wrong. They just kind of shot me with an EpiPen, and we got it under control, and they sent me back home. Well, that continued to happen for over a week. Every couple of nights, something like that would happen. And even then, I still wasn't prone to panic attacks. I still fell asleep just fine at night. And then every now and then, every few days, I would wake up like in that state and have to rush to the emergency room. And they just could not figure out what was going on. So I finally got in. It finally dawned on me. I had a tick bite 3 weeks ago. I should probably get some testing done. My first general physician would not, my doctor that I had been seeing since we moved to Conway, would not test me even. He said, we don't have tick-borne illnesses in Central Arkansas. So that was discouraging. So I went to another clinic. They did test me, and then I found a new primary care physician who tested me as well. Between the time of taking that test, having that blood drawn, and getting the results, I was back in the ER, and they could not control it anymore with just EpiPens. They would shoot me with an EpiPen. It would calm down. They would come back 30 minutes later to discharge me, and I would be covered again. So they couldn't maintain it anymore either. So they ended up admitting me, but not before they sent me home to nurse my youngest baby one more time, because I was going to be admitted for 3 days and put on some very high steroids and antibiotics and antihistamines and several other things. So that brings my family into the equation. I'm a mama of 6. The oldest now is almost 14. The baby is not a baby anymore. She is 5. But at the time, she was 10 months old. I was nursing her around the clock. So my oldest was not very old then. She was 11. And it was she was 10. Yeah, 10. Very scary time. And obviously a very emotional time for you mamas. You would understand just having to kind of leave your children, not knowing when you were going to get to come home and what was going to happen. And so I was admitted, and over the course of 3 days, they just put me on the cardiac unit floor because they didn't know really where else to put me, and they needed to monitor my heart. The test results began trickling in. Sure enough, I was dealing with a tick-borne illness that was Lyme related. So I never had the bullseye rash or anything like that. But what was happening, and I'm going to tell you this information because I feel like it's important to know. There's actually been a task force committee put together out of the state of Arkansas now, because it's so well known now and so important. But what would happen was I would eat beef, or I would eat I would take a capsule that was made out of gelatin and go to bed. And so I would do that sometime during the day. I would go to bed, and then in the middle of the night, my body would have a minor anaphylactic reaction to that. And it's called the alpha-gal allergy. And it's becoming more and more known, but all it is it's just a simple allergy to a specific protein found in mammal meat called alpha-gal. But it's also in all mammal products. So lanolin, gelatin, not to mention just red meat in general. I can still do chicken, I can still do turkey, I can still do fish, all that. But those were off limits. We didn't know that at the time. So you guys, they would be giving me medicine in the hospital, and the gel caps they were giving me would then send, like a few hours later, it's not an oral reaction, it's in your digestive system. They would cause me to have this allergic reaction. That's why we couldn't get it under control. Finally, we made sense of it. They sent me home back to my babies. I was so excited, but they sent me home on over 13 different prescriptions. They were having to wake me up in the middle of the night, my husband was, so I could have time to fit in all this medicine during the day. It was a very, very trying time. And like I said, everything I knew health and nutrition wise currently at that time was just flipped on its head. And I just had to realize I was not in my own hands, that I was in the Lord's hands. And He was very gracious and very faithful and took great care of me in that healing process. And I spent the next year and a half healing, getting my strength back. I lost probably over 20 pounds. It was not a good time. But I got my health back to where I was going to make it. I was going to, be able to function. But my normal was so depressing, you all. I did not want to get out of bed in the morning. I wasn't depressed, but I was just exhausted. I left my bed unmade all the time because I could not wait to get back into it. I always took a several hour nap in the afternoon. And after dinner every night, I would come back to bed. And I didn't even have the energy to really put all the kids to bed. That was my normal. And while I was thankful to be alive, I was also really struggling with, this is my reality. And so I prayed that God would either help me to be content that I wasn't going to be the mother that I thought I was going to be, or to give me an answer. And that's when Plexus entered the picture. I had really only one friend who was really posting about it at the time, Nicole Kinsler. And she finally posted about the probiotic, and I clicked on it. And if some of you may have seen my Facebook post, I think it was from yesterday. I clicked on her link, and I literally held my hand up to the computer screen because I didn't want to see any Plexus propaganda, because I was still a skeptic. I didn't want to see their testimonies. I didn't want to see their sales pitch. I just wanted to see an ingredient list. So if you've ever talked to someone who's like that type of person, I was that type of person. Don't give up on those people, okay? And I finally made it to an ingredient list of the probiotic. And when I saw the chitosanase antifungal in there, I was blown away. And then it had the S. boulardii and several of the strains that I considered very important. But the fact that I had the antifungal in there blew me away. It was also a third of the price of the probiotic I was currently taking. And then when I saw that the BioCleanse was there, and I knew how it would help take care of the rest of the toxins in the bloodstream that I was still recycling from all that medication, as well as the die-off, that I knew this was a big deal. Things like the body lotion really excited me. The Slim, I knew alpha-lipoic acid was great. Chromium, sure, that's good too. I mean, that was kind of a given. It had stevia, no, artificial colors or anything like that. So I was fine with that. But when I saw, I mean, literally, like the body lotion, those are the things you send to people like me. Look at this body lotion. Look at this BioCleanse. They may get really excited. And also, no one could have ever convinced me. But just giving me access to the information let me make my own decision. And when I was ready, I was ready. So I messaged Nicole and said, I think I need these products. And I actually think if they work as well as I think they're going to, that I definitely want to build a business by helping other people with these products. So she encouraged me to go preferred customer first. So I did that. I lasted as a preferred customer about a week. I got the products in. I tried them. By day 3, I was totally convinced. Now, mind you, I had a very clean system. I was still eating very clean just because I needed to give my body the most advantage and the biggest advantage that I could. So it did hit like a very clean system. I didn't have much of a detox at all. So I got all the benefits by day, or a lot of the benefits by day 3, and my world was changed. So I called her up and I said, I'm not your preferred customer anymore. I'm ready to sign up. And I did immediately. And my health changed dramatically. I'm very pleased to say that it reversed so many of my kind of lingering chronic symptoms that I had been dealing with, not just from the tick bite, but from my whole life. So I was very grateful for that. But I'm also really pleased to tell you that even after 2.5 years, I still am feeling great on these products. So I think there was still a small part of me as a skeptic that thought these work now, but will they work for the long haul? And they have. They really have. So I'm so thankful for them. I'm so just thankful to be able to share them with others and just be able to tell people about, here's how I think that they could help you. And I don't shy away from that. I know that, just talking business for just a second, I know that a lot of people have like, here's a message you can send to someone. Here's, make your Franks list, do all of that. I think that's a brilliant. But what I also want to tell you is when someone comes to your heart or someone comes to your mind, pick up the phone and call them. Just do it. Just don't think twice about it. Don't overthink it. Don't try to come up with a great, spill to give them. Just pick up the phone and call them. Or at the very least, voice message them. Let them hear your voice. Let them know that you are thinking about them and why. I did that over and over again when I first got my own website. I started, and I remember asking Nicole, can I start messaging people like right now? When you first get your website, she was like, sure. So since I'd already been on the products as a preferred customer, I did. And I would literally be stirring dinner at the stove and think of someone and pick up the phone and call her, even if I hadn't talked to her in, 6 months, and be like, Jenny, I know you suffer with migraines. I know your husband isn't sure about his job right now. You need to try these products. And I think you need to look at the business plan also. That was it. Let me know what you think. And we would talk maybe for a minute, and then they would let me know. I did that over and over and over again. And that's how I went fast track gold that first month, is just by picking up the phone, just calling people and thinking about them and letting them know that. And definitely it was definitely God's faithfulness. I'm not trying to say I did it all on my own. He definitely set it up. And that was a huge confirmation that this is kind of what I was supposed to be doing. So definitely pray for that too. But my point to you is to not overthink it. Don't strategize too much, or don't overload yourself with that. Just think about people and take care of them, and they will respond to that. If not immediately, eventually. Okay. They hear your tone. They hear your heart. They hear your excitement, and they hear what it's done for you and what you think it can do for them. And if that's not going to sell them, then they probably need some space so that they can understand what this can really do for them. So anyway, the products have been a blessing to me. I've gone on and put, several of my family members in this house on the products. The ProBio is a family favorite. My husband benefits from so much of them as well. And I'm really grateful for that, because his grandfather was the first quadruple bypass surgery in Arkansas several decades ago. So I want all of the heart healthy supplements headed his way, and he's getting them, and that's kind of sweet relief for this wife. As I was thinking about what else to share with you as far as health and as far as the business opportunity, what I really want to encourage you in is to not shy away from your story and your voice, because it's yours, because no one else has your story. You don't need to try to make it something that it's not, and put that type of pressure on yourself. Your voice, no matter if you're more excited about the business opportunity and freeing up mamas to, earn extra income for their family, or maybe stay home with their family, or pay off debt, find your voice there and use it. But if you're more excited about gut health, or, helping people to get their blood sugar stable, or whatever it is, then find your voice there. Okay. And your story, whatever it is, whatever this has done for you, if it's just been migraine relief or eczema relief, or if it's just helped you have a more balanced mood for your family, then use your voice, use your story. While Melissa has done an amazing job, I'm sure, of setting up these calls for you all, and these tips for you all, my tip for you is to do you. No one else can do that like you can. So use your voice, use your story. Certainly tell other people's stories too, but do it even then in your voice. It's going to benefit you. It's going to make you more accessible and understand, like believable. People are going to be able to relate to you better. It's also, I feel like, going to be a benefit even to a corporation like Plexus, that it's not just copies and pastes everywhere, but it's people with genuine voices and authentic stories and authentic voices and perspectives saying, no, we really appreciate this product line, and we're really thankful for this business opportunity as well. So that's what I would encourage you to do, is find your voice, find your story, and to stick with that. So I wanted to leave a little bit of time for questions, but those are my tips. Melissa, is there anything that you've heard my story before? Is there anything that I missed or skimmed over that you want me to highlight?
No, I don't think so. I think you pretty much covered everything, because you talked about your clean eating, which I was really that's where I was at with my story and gut health. And so I thought that was important. So no, I think you've pretty much covered a lot of what I already heard.
Good, good. Yeah, yeah. You guys don't be too hard on those clean eaters and those ingredient-less junkies. They need your patience and they need your space and support and security. If they sense that insecurity, then they're just going to find something wrong. But if you stand behind whatever you believe in that you're sharing with them, then eventually they're going to find their own way. And when they do, they can kind of take off because they've already convinced themselves. And man, someone who has convinced themselves is so much more powerful and so much faster momentum than someone you're having to constantly convince day after day that no really that's exhausting on you and them.
Does
Hey,
anybody have
Annie.
any? Oh, hello.
Hey, Melissa, I have a quick question real quick.
Sure.
Hi, Annie. My name is Kimberly. I actually have seen you a couple times share your story in Conway. That's where I'm from as well.
Oh.
I have a question for you because I love your testimony. And I have two friends. Well, I wouldn't necessarily say we're too close. We're more of associates. We know each other in passing. But two people who I feel like God has really laid on my heart, and they are both struggling with Lyme. And the disease has gotten them so down and out, and they've gone through so much, and it hurts my heart. And I've tried to build those relationships, and I've tried to share. And I was just wondering, do you have any key points that you would kind of suggest from an outsider's perspective on what could have helped? Because these are not ladies that I would consider crunchy mamas, but their struggle just really lays heavy on my heart.
Yeah, yeah. It is, I can hear the compassion in your voice, and that's so important because although we caught mine pretty early, a lot of people don't. And I did end up having to have a spinal tap and several other things done just to check and make sure it wasn't going to affect me neurologically later on. But for so many people, it does. And that can be really debilitating for them emotionally and physically. So that compassion is going to be key. I think just from an outside perspective, reaching out to them and just saying, hey, I see you. You're definitely not alone. I believe in these products. And I know several people who've benefited when they have Lyme, that they've benefited from these products because of the alpha lipoic acid and because of being able to balance and keep stable their blood sugar. And that's a big, big step for people with Lyme, because it can just get so out of whack, and then the hormones are next, and on and on and on. It just gets worse from there. So I think just letting them know you see them and that you're here for them, whether they try the products or not, but that you really do believe that these could help. But they're probably getting suggestions thrown at them from every which way. So I think just being there for them, and so that you're there when they are ready, putting that out there like, hey, I think these really could help you, but I understand how discouraged you must be. So I want you to know, I think these could help you. I talked to a woman that they've specifically helped. I have another girl who was diagnosed 2 weeks before me with Lyme's, and her and I both, not the same story, but very similar. I mean, these products have sustained our health, and we're so grateful for that. So, multiple people here in Central Arkansas that have this has helped tremendously, and their symptoms. There's no cure, obviously, but they're reversed, and we're leading normal lives. But keep that compassion and being there for them, because man, if you catch them on a bad day, don't get scared off. They've scared everybody off probably with their chronic pain and issues.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
I have one question, Annie.
Yeah.
Just to kind of, if you can give some background on looking back what you know now, What's something, if anything, you would change when you first started?
As far as the business
A
goes?
business perspective. Yes, I'm sorry.
Oh, that is very specific to my personality. So I'm going to expose myself a little bit. And that is that if I could do it all over again, I would just let my leaders lead. You know, they didn't, even though I had really strong, and by, I mean like 2 or 3 really strong level 1 leaders, they weren't well versed in gut health. They believed me and so they listened to me, but they didn't understand it all. So once they began understanding it and then wanting to reach out and lead and do more, I was like a mama bird kind of was like nesting, like, okay, we'll just make sure this, and probably micromanaged a little bit. And instead of being like, do it, go do your thing. I, was probably double checking and triple checking and probably causing some doubt in some of them. Thankfully, they are really good friends also. And they've stuck with me. And since then we've talked just about, what it would look like for them to just lead and be the leaders that they are. So I would say I would let my leaders lead. I would maintain really strong relationships with those who didn't jump on board right away. So most of you probably know Plexus can become your world kind of on Facebook, and it fill up your calendar. It can easily become your identity, is I'm working towards being this in Plexus. And although I've tried really hard to manage that and want to continue to, I think I would have worked even harder from the beginning to make sure that outside relationships and, that they were maintained and continued to be nurtured, even though the Plexus family was growing, and that my identity was still, not, it's not Plexus Annie, it's just Annie, who's benefited from Plexus and is thankful for it. So anyway, it's just perspective. It's just taking that perspective that we can make so small sometimes and broaden it way out, going, okay, this isn't mine. I'm a Christian, and I believe that, I, again, was kind of a micromanager. I'm a mom of 6. I homeschool. Control is my thing. That's my game, right? I'm not in control. And the Lord is so faithful to show me that over and over again. And what I love is that, anytime we're holding on to something, we're just white knuckling it, like, this is mine. I'm going to take really great care of it. And it becomes all about this. That becomes anxiety and stress and pressure. But when I open my hands up and I'm like, whatever you want to do with it, that's actually yours. You brought it in. You can take it away. It's all yours. Good days and bad days. So whatever you want to do with it, it immediately expands it from being this small little thing that's all about me and how well I do with it and how many people I help and all those things, to the size of his kingdom, and what does he want to do with it, and who does he want to help, and whose life does he want to change, or how's he going to use it in my life. Plexus has done he has used Plexus to do some amazing things, restore my health, help our families budget tremendously. And we have had huge things come up this past couple of years that I don't know how we could have paid for. He has allowed me to just finish my nutrition classes so that I can be a certified integrative health coach. And that's a dream come true. But still, none of it can't come back here. It's got to stay like this so that it can be expanded to the size of whatever he wants to do with it, for our good and for his glory. So I would keep that perspective way earlier on, Melissa. That's what I would have done differently.
Those are all great. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Does anybody have anything else? Okay. Hey, Kelsey, is there any way you can get a group photo of us before we end the call?
Kelsey, you're muted.
I don't think I know how to do that.
You want me to try to, Melissa?
Sure.
Let me see if I can. Thought maybe it would. No, I don't think it's going to let me. I can do it with my phone, but you can choose that.
Hey, Kelsey, are you on your computer?
I am.
Okay. If you hit the print screen button, it'll take a picture. So a print screen button will take a picture of whatever's on your screen. I'm trying to turn my video on. Okay, here we go.
Now we have all learned something new tonight.
Yeah.
That's awesome.